Hey, Harold, how are you?
I'm good. It was very good
Good.
last.
What's that?
Last night was very good.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
So we say that's hospital, she's just in regular care. Yeah. Yeah. That's really, really all the time. That's something. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing the signs of aging, but obviously, yeah. Take away that. Right, but she hasn't made, I'm sure she did a little bit of money. Yeah. All getting old. Another, the other day, I don't understand the attention, fill all this and that, she's fine.
Good night, everybody.
And
Good night,
then
you
I
all.
was telling her, she should do this, she should do that, and I said, you know, honey.
Hello, Yaakov.
Yeah.
Hey, Mario, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, all good.
You're back in town?
No, we're actually in New York today.
Oh, you enjoy the cold weather, I see.
Yeah, yeah. We have a bris of a great grandson tomorrow, God willing.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. A nice reason.
Mazel tov. That's nice. Wow.
Mazel tov, thank you. Yeah.
You have the volume 20, you have it, Yaakov? You have the volume 20?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I got it yesterday from Ernie when I was
Okay.
there for the Rev Cook
Oh,
presentation.
We're on page 50.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
So there's an event at the Agustins. A gentleman, a rabbi from Israel. Yeah. No, so whatever, and did a presentation on Rabbi Cook and how his thoughts way back when, not when I'm Jewish, but yeah, whenever Jewish, about.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
There were.
So I would recommend everybody on their own, look at page 60, which is one permitted to shop. My publisher goes to an analysis.
Somebody has to mute.
Yeah. Oh, we're not gonna help, but yeah. From LA and went there.
Yaakov.
Yaakov, you might have to mute yourself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I think it is me.
Okay.
Okay.
So I would recommend that everybody go through on their own the little essay in between those Shear 1 and Shear 2, which is page 60. But we will continue on page 73.
No, it's page 50.
Yeah, we ended on 50.
Ringing the hair.
Page 50, Ernie.
I'm sorry. I thought we finished that.
No.
No, it's very relevant.
Okay. Page 50 on the bottom. Earlier we saw that the Mishnah Berurah writes that we do not wash in cold water on Shabbos, due in part to the concern that the bather is likely to wring out his hair. Wringing the water out of wet hair is addressed in the Gemara in Masechta Shabbos. The Amoraim agree that it's not a malacha. Rav Yosef Damer Tevar ein schita b'seir, that the malach of schita doesn't apply by hair. The Rambam accepts this. According to Magid Mishnah, these statements do not permit wringing out hair on Shabbos. They just mean that wringing out hair is not a malacha. You're not liable for performing this, but they're forbidden midrabanan. Perek mefanin, Rabbi Rav Yosef Damer Tevar ein schita b'seir, but umiu isura ikka. When they say you're not chayiv, there's no schita, there's no av malach of schita, but there is a rabbinic prohibition. Thus, wringing out hair on Shabbos is not permitted. Rav Avram Chaim Naeh notes in his Tzos HaShulchan that this is only true of hair long and thick enough that it absorbs water within it. Sefer Yeshua's Chochma Kosav, Oisin Anoshim Shedarkam B'chol, those men during the weekday, Kisha'olim in mikvah, when they come out of the mikvah, Meshafshifim B'deim Esaponim V'ainayim, and they have to rub their face and their hands and face and eyes, K'dei Lasir K'tzatz Mayim Sheba'apafayim, in their eyelids, Uchsheinam Osim Ken Kashalem Liftoch Ha'inayim. If they didn't do that, they wouldn't be able to open their eyes. You shouldn't be doing this on Shabbos. You are wringing out water that's absorbed in the eyelashes. It's something that's happening without your kavana, but it's something that you're happy with. However, the Tzos HaShulchan, in the Badei HaShulchan, says that he's not sure that Yeshua's Chachma is absolute. Ein dvar muchachim. Sharei gam kisharochtzin aponim baboker. When you wash your face in the morning, nichnas mayim ba'afapayim. Uchshemeshav shreif ponim nischat hamayim. And when you rub your face, you're squeezing water. Gam harebi yadayim yeshkan. Yesh gam ken sa'aretz. You have hair on your hands. You are not allowed to wash your hands with something that would remove the hair. You can rub your hands on Shabbos. There's no other way how you would wash Otherwise, Chazal wouldn't be goes with that. Vuadin kisholim in a mikveh and a mechuyev litztar. And therefore, when you come out of a mikveh on Shabbos, it's not, you shouldn't be upset. You can do what you have to do. The hair on the back of your hands, there's no schita. The schita lo avirak b'kibut shel sars tzvuva zulazu. Schita in the hair is only when the hair is thick and close to each other, so that it absorbs water. Shamayim ke'elu nivlu b'socham. Al b'sarot nifradot zumizu. When the hair is separated one from the other, ka'elu shel hayadayim, like the ones that are on our hands, ein b'hem schita. There's no malach of schita. Vuadin l'se'ar hafapayim. He says eyelashes also are not thick and absorptive. She'enan tzvuva zelazeh ve'enan shoch lazuazu de'ein b'hem schita. So he holds there's no schita. Shmir Shabbos Kolchasa also notes that it is permitted to dry oneself with a towel on Shabbos, and he explains how the prohibition of wringing does not apply to hair when using a towel. Mutter l'nagev et haguf v'gam et ha'se'arot. You can towel your body and the hair. Asur lischot es asarot shelo b'derech niguv. But you cannot wring your hair that doesn't involve drying. You can rub your wet hair. There's no problem about squeezing water out. You're not collecting this water. The water is going to waste. Certainly, there's no schita deraisa. There's no gzemi drabanan in the shas. Mistaber the shop is shori, so it's okay. If when you towel down your hair and the hair is immediately absorbed by the towel, you don't see them. The water is not visible. It's in the towel. If there's not a lot of water in your hair, where the towel would get so wet that you'd have to wring it out of the towel, in the Shulchan Shlomo, Rav Shlomo Zalman felt that there's room for leniency when someone is drying hair with a towel. Lenient schita b'seir. Al kolpanim kulam kasvu shezer rak nira k'schita. It's just like Kamar Sayin. It looks like schita. In ken kishvanagiv ein zeh shach klal l'schita. When you towel your hair, there's no schita. L'chein lo yadati marau kol kach lach. But I didn't understand why there was such a stringency. They thought maybe before you towel your hair, you will squeeze your hair. So Rav Shlomo Zalman is lenient regarding this issue. In the realm of Machshava, Rav Eliyahu Dessler in the Michtav Meliyahu writes that in order to achieve true rest and tranquility on Shabbos, we must instill in ourselves the message that Hashem controls what happens to us in the world. Therefore, our efforts to support ourselves will not succeed unless Hashem allows for it. Menuchas hanefesh b'Shabbos kodesh tluya me'od b'darga gvor shel emunah, shekol b'dei Shamayim. Having peaceful rest on Shabbos very much is connected to a spiritual level of your emunah that everything is really in Hashem's hands anyways. Kipshuto mamish, shakol siba ruchanit v'lo gashmit. Everything has a spiritual cause, not a material cause. Once we realize this, we can truly enjoy Shabbat and experience the feeling of rest that Shabbat brings. With the recognition that we are not losing out on anything by not working or engaging in other productive activities which are forbidden on Shabbat. Rav Yitzchak Isaac Sher elaborates that when a person leaves work on Friday afternoon, one should imagine giving the keys of one's workplace to Hashem, and Hashem will provide the sustenance necessary to live. L'zos b'shash adam sogers chanuto erev Shabbos kodesh mibad yom. When a person closes his store on Friday afternoon, tzarach sheyimsor es maftechot chanuto l'shamayim. you should figuratively or metaphorically hand your keys to Hashem, hand the keys of your store to Hashem. The most HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not think that it belongs to you. Mitoch yidiyah ki hu v'chol asher lo. In a recognition that it all belongs to Hashem. Kol tzrochav v'sipur parnasav. What parnasa he's going to make, the various needs he needs, it's all taken care of by Hashem. Hakol shaykh l'baylim amitim shel ha'aretz u'mloah. It all belongs to the owner of the world. Hakol shaykh l'bal abira. V'ilu hu adam eino elo arech ba'aretz ha'muzuman al pi melech ha'olam. The human being is just a guest, a visitor in the world that belongs to Hashem. Lavo shulchano v'lalamo, and eats off the table of Hashem and in His world, litanei gal Hashem, to enjoy being close to Hashem. This point is emphasized by a story told in Ashir v'Ashavach about the first Hasidic Rebbe of Zvil, Rav Moshe of Zvil. Rabbi, those of us who grew up in Los Angeles will remember Rabbi Adler on Beverly between like Laurel and Edinburgh. And Rabbi Adler's wife, Rebbitzin Adler, was very close with my grandmother. She was the Zviller grandchild. That means Rabbi Adler's yichus was through his wife. And there was a huge picture of the Zviller Rebbe. The Zviller was a major Hasidic Rebbe in Yerushalayim, Rav Shlomke. And I still remember in the dining room of Rabbi Adler was a huge portrait, of a Hasidic Rebbe with dark, piercing eyes. That was Rav Shlomke of Zvil. And Rebbitzin Adler was the granddaughter. He referred to himself as the Zviller in Los Angeles. He was known as the Zviller. Biyos Rav Moshe Avrich, when Rav Moshe was a young man in Kolel, Haisab ba'aluto chanut melach. He wasn't in Kolel, but he was a young married man. He owned a salt store. V'ayol shochin asher gam lo hayta chanut besamuch. He had a neighbor. He also had a store. Hivchina hashachen shekasher Rab Moshe lo oisa kiddush urotech uboer ka'esh. When he made kiddush, this Moshe of Zvil would shake. Pam nigash oto shachen. So the neighbor approached him. V'sha'al oto mazot. Why are you on fire with excitement when you make kiddush? Halo anachnu shtenu yoshvim b'chanut im kein ketzad higat l'zeh lasot kiddush b'tlavut kazo uvrticha. You do business, I do business. How are you on such a high level? Madua etzli ein zekach. Eshiv lo Reb Moshe. Hayavdel hu shani choshev b'meshach kol hashavua lakiddush mitzapelo. I'm thinking the whole week while I'm working about the kiddush. V'ilu ata gam b'shasha ata osa kiddush en choshev el hachanut. You even during kiddush are thinking about your geschäft in the store. And this message is an important one to internalize and reinforce. Even those who have kept Shabbos their entire lives. Every week as Shabbat approaches, we should try to put aside all our concerns related to our work or earning a living, trusting in Hashem that He will supply us with what we need. Let us try to think about and look forward to Kiddush during the week, rather than thinking about our mundane concerns and livelihood during Kiddush. May we all recognize the true basis for our sustenance in this world, and use Shabbat to thank Hashem for everything that we have been given in life. So that's why I said, page 60, I would recommend you read it. It's about taking a shower on Yom Tov. Let's go to page 73. By the way, Rabbi Doron told me that volume 24 is coming out soon, which may be the last Shabbos volume, or there's actually already halachas of Pesach, because at the end of Or Chaim you have the Hilchos of Yom Tov after Shabbos. I think the laws of like Mechiras Chametz, and there's already Pesach Tika laws in volume 24. He told me that the There's going to be 31 volumes. That Choshen, the next will be Even HaEzer, laws about marriage, and then business law, Choshen Mishpat, will be from volumes 25 to 31. God willing. Cutting hair and nails. In the first year of this volume, we discuss under what circumstances washing one's body is permitted on Shabbos, related halachos regarding drying one's hair, and the rest of the body. In this year, we will continue, and basically in summary, nobody holds that you can really take a bath or shower on Shabbos. There was some discussion about cold water, but even that, there was a gzeira, cold water, or too hot water. That there really was no. Yontif is a different story, especially the second day of Yontif. If you go through the essay that Rav Doron actually he wrote. In this year, we'll continue studying halachos related to personal care on Shabbos, including brushing your hair, braiding your hair, skin care. One malacha that is relevant to hair is the malacha of gozes, shearing. The first 11 malachos listed in the Mishnah in Klal Gadol as are described by the Gemara as sidur de pas, sort of the process of making bread, as they follow the order of making bread, from plowing and sowing, the seeds culminate with baking. Gozes, the next malacha listed, is the first of a series of 13 malachos following the process of making clothes, starting from shearing wool from a sheep, which is gozes, culminating with sewing and tearing in order to resew. The Rambam writes that the Av Malacha of gozes includes cutting hair from any animal, whether it is alive or dead. Says the Rambam, agozes tzemer or seyar, somebody who cuts wool or hair, beimina behemoth, beimina chayo, whether it's a domesticated animal or an undomesticated animal, beimina chay, beimina meis, whether it's alive or dead, afilu, even in hashlech shalayan chayiv, hashlach shalayan chayiv, this refers to hide skin from a dead animal. Wool or hair that is taken from the shus can no longer be used for constructive purposes. Rav Moshe Levi explains the nature of this malacha in Menuchas Avos. Melechas gozes, huyachas milametes avos, malachos asus b'Torah b'Shabbos, is one of the 39 av malachos on Shabbos. Mahut melechas gozes hu, what is the quality of this goz? Nituk v'akirat dvarim hagadlim beguf balei chayim, cutting things that grow from the body of an animal. Mimakom gidulan, from the place that they grew. Kigon, sa'arot, hair. Tzipornai, nails. Galdei oros lachim, scabs and warts. Yabelet, which is a wart. In the work of the Mishkan, they would cut wool. They would weave woolen threads. The curtain. The tachash was an animal, and they would cut the hair off the hides as part of the tanning process. If you cut off a limb from an animal, it's not a gozes. The limb of an animal is part of the body of the animal. The enam gidelim beguf balech. They're not growing on the body of the animal, like hair and nails. Thus, the primary purpose of the malach of gozes is to obtain wool for subsequent use. The Mishnah Masechta Shabbos quotes a dispute regarding pulling out human nails and hair. According to Yezer, one who pulls out his own nails or hair on Shabbos is liable to bring a chatas. The Chachamim argue that it's only rabbinically prohibited because cutting nails or hair is not normally done by hand. Hanotelzi pernav zu bezu. if you take off your fingernail with the other fingernail, or b'shinav, or you bite it, or v'chein sa'aro, his hair, v'chein sfam, his mustache, v'chein zkano, his beard, Rav Eliezer is mechayev v'chatus, v'chacham oisrim mishum shvus, it's only exami rabbanon. The consensus view is that the halacha is in accordance with the chachamim, although the Ran cites Rabbeinu Hananel as claiming that one should be stringent regarding the laws of Shabbos and rule in accordance with Rabbi Eliezer. Nevertheless, the Bir Halacha, the Mishnah Berurah writes that the commentary of Rabbeinu Hananel printed on the side of the Gemara, which did not exist in the time of the Ran, indicates that the halacha in fact follows the chachamim. And Rabbeinu Hananel ruled in accordance with Rabbi Eliezer only with respect to the second set of halachas in the Mishnah, which we will discuss later in this year. So the Gemara says that this machlokas is only regarding someone who pulls out his nails with his hand. One who does so using an implement is chayav v'chatas according to everybody. Amrav lo machlokas biyad. Aval b'kli chayav. If you're going to use a nail clipper, that's a machlok on Shabbos. Since one who cuts his own nails and hair typically does not use them, it's not like you use the nail for anything. Tosfos writes that doing so is malachos she'ein tzricha legufa. Malachos she'ein tzricha legufa is a principle that's elucidated in Shas, where we're not doing the malacha for the same purpose as what was done in the Mishkan. That's in essence what we mean when we say the malacha is she'ein tzricha legufa. And since in the base of Mikdash, what you cut, you then used, and here you're discarding your nails. Tosfos is saying it's a malacha she'ein tzrich legufa, and there's a machlokas Rab Shimon Rab Yehuda, just like there's a machlokas Rab Shimon Rab Yehuda regarding malacha she'ein tzrich kavana. We also possibly like Rab Shimon by malacha she'ein tzrich legufa. The Gemara states that one is liable when using a utensil follows the view of Rabbi Yehuda, that a malacha she'ein tzrich legufa is biblically prohibited. So,
Eliza, what's that video?
Hainuk Rabbi Yehuda. In the machlokas between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, Tosfos points out to us that when the Gemara in the name of Rabbi Elazar says that everybody agrees that if you use a kli, you're chayav v'chatas, that's only according to Rabbi Yehuda. The mechayav malacha she'ein tzrich legufa. Now, in volume 17, Shiur 6, we discussed the concept of malacha she'ein tzrich legufa at length, and noted that the majority of poskim rule in accordance with Rabbi Shimon, that performing the malacha she'ein tzrich legufa is only rabbinically prohibited in Shabbos, and one who does so is not obligated to bring a chatas. The Rambam rules in accordance with the strict view of Rabbi Yehuda. Accordingly, here, the Rambam also rules in accordance with our Gemara that one is liable a chatas for cutting one's hair, cutting one's nails or hair on Shabbos using scissors or a nail clipper. Hanotel sipor navas or aro, somebody who cuts his nails or his hair or sfamo, his mustache or his kano, is performing a tolda of gozes v'chayiv. And the Rambam points out who she told bakli, if you do it with an implement. Aval noton biyado, if you do it with your hand, bein lo, bein lach, whether you do it for yourself or somebody else, you're potter. So that's in contrast with Tosfos, who understand that cutting nails using a utensil is a malacha she'ein tzrich legufa, because you're not doing anything with the nails. The Rivash, another Rishon, argues that it's a bona fide malacha according to everybody, as the malacha of gozes was performed during the construction of the Mishkan for the sake of the hides, even when there was no need for the hair. That means they wanted the hide, so they first had to get rid of the hair from the hide, but they ended up using the hide, they didn't use the hair. Hanoitel sipornav bekli, somebody who cuts off his nails with an implement, aval pishen tzarech litzifornav, he's not using the nails, ela ozi leibud, you're throwing it away, chayiv. Even according to the sheet of Rab Shimon, who says you're potter for doing a malach, that because this doesn't fit. just removing the nail or the hair is the malacha. He says, "Gziza hayta b'mishkan shelo tzarchat tzemer v'seir." Shearing in the Mishkan was not because you needed the wool or the hair. Rak l'tzorech or. I'm teaching Daf Yomi.
Okay, call me back.
No, Ayla.
Call back.
Oh, I like that. Sharan and Tile Melach V'chein Deseir. Oh, Gziza hayta b'mishkan shelo tzarchat tzemer rak l'tzorech or. To go in Boris Chosh, they needed the hide of the tachash. We're not sure exactly what kind of animal that. Yeah, I'll have some. We're not sure exactly what kind of animal the tachash was. It was some kind of exotic animal that had a beautiful hide. And there's a debate exactly what it was. Right? Tosfos said defines malacha as defined as tzrich legufa when it's performed for the same purpose as it was performed in the construction of the Mishkan. And the Rivash follows that definition. I didn't explain this, but there's actually a machlokes, Rashi and Tosfos, how to understand malacha shein tzrich legufa. Tosfos understands it the way I explained it. Rashi says that malacha tzrich legufa must have a constructive purpose rather than simply being the removal of something unwanted. So, for example, you might, when you remove the hair from a hide, so that's constructive, you're making the hide better. But cutting nails when there's no need for the nails would certainly be a melacha shein tzrich legufa, certainly according to Rashi as well. What's nice in the Shir, we can review some of these basic Shas concepts that come up all the time, everywhere in Shas. And it's an important machlokas between Rashi and Tosfos regarding this issue. Shulchan Aruch rules in accordance with our Gemara and the Rambam that one is liable for cutting one's nails or hair on Shabbos with a kli, right? Also, litol sarts panav ben biyad ben bekli. Shulchan Aruch doesn't even make a distinction. He says whether with your hand or with a kli. Bein la'atzmo, bein la'cherim, chayvos stay saris. The volume which triggers the chiyuv is 2 hairs. The Gra explains the Shulchan Aruch here is found the view of Rabbi Yehuda and the Rambam that one is liable for performing a malacha shein tzrich legufa. He adds that the Gemara itself, which states that one is liable for cutting nails with a utensil, is a proof that the halacha indeed follows Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gra Stam Kedas Rambam, the halacha Rabbi Yehuda, malacha shein tzrich legufa. A sugya zu muchak kain, the halacha Rabbi Yehuda, v'rei l'psak Rambam. So he brings the proof. The Bir Halacha argues that the Shulchan Aruch may be following the Rivash, that cutting nails or hairs is a malacha hatzrich legufa, and thus there is no proof that he accepts the stringency position of the Rambam regarding malacha shein tzrich legufa. In the Tosfos Kosvu Dezel Dafkel Rabbi Yehuda, the malacha shein tzrich legufa chayiv. Rabbi Shimon potter af bekli. Rabbi Shimon would say even with an implement it would be potter. Umishem zer tam achronim ala rosh v'atur. That's why the achronim found the rosh and the tur problematic. Shetikwa din alohem pasku Shimon. They just copied the din, but they didn't rule like Rabbi Shimon. And it comes out that the Shulchan Aruch is the same way. Hine agrokos of the Shulchan Aruch stam sosam pol aloch that's a Rambam. The Rambam was stringent, so Shulchan Aruch took the stringent approach. The malacha shein tzrich legufa like Rabbi Yehuda, the chayiv. Achmana said b'kusher kol achronim shatur v'Shulchan Aruch soisim etzatzman. But we have this conflict between the Tur and Shulchan Aruch, so that's why not everybody holds that the Shulchan Aruch is following like that. B'nei Rivash b'simin shin tzadik daled kosav The melechas hagziza chashiva melachas l'kula alma, that everybody holds it's a melacha. Afil ein tzarich, if you don't need the hair. The Hilchos Mamish Kosav Moro Haran, the Ran, who was the Rebbe of the Rivash, B'chidush of Al Shabbos V'zel Shono. Perish Rashi, this is what the Ran brings. Mishum Goze, Shavu Pishein Tzarech L'Giza, even though you don't need the hair. Holvut Tzarech Li'afus Atzmo B'Giza Zu Af B'zeh Chayiv. Mishum Goze is Dumi the Goze is Shlach. You're cutting your hair to make yourself more beautiful. That's similar to the way they cut the hair off a hide. It's for beautification. You don't need what's sheared, elishishar or blosar. So it would be easily tanned. Adkan l'shona. That's the lashon of Rashi. It could be that they're not following Tosfos. So we learned above that pulling out hairs or nails by hand is only rabbinically prohibited. This is because cutting by hand is a shinui, an unusual manner of performing the lach. Does this allow for any leniency in case of a broken fingernail or painful hangnail? The Gemara Masechta Shabbos already addresses this question and rules that one may remove it with one's hand if it's causing pain. The Mishnah Berurah mentions that an additional leniency with respect to cutting nails, that a woman who forgot to cut her nails before immersing in the mikveh may ask a Gentile to cut them for her by hand when she goes to the mikveh Friday night. Tanya, this is Shabbos Tzadik Dal Lamed Beis. Tanya Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Tzipor and Shapirish Ruba, nail is partially hanging off. V'tzitzin shepor sheruban biyad. Biyad mutter. To remove it with your hand, you can. Bekli chayv chatas. You can't do it with a kli. Mi'ik midi de bekli chayv chatas biyad mutter l'chatchila. So the Gemara, usually, once something is chayv chatas, if you do it with a shinui, it's not permitted to do. It's just only rabbinic. And that's what the Gemara asks. How can you go from a chatas to mutar l'chatchila? So hachikom. This is the Gemara. Pirshu Ruban, if more than 51% of the nail is hanging off, biyad mutar, doing it with your hand is completely permitted. Bikli is pater av alasser. Lo pirshu Ruban, if it's less than 51% hanging, biyad pater av alasser, it's still forbidden rabbinically with your hand, and bikli chayv chatas. Amid Allah Reb Shimon ben Elazar. The halach is like Reb Shimon, Rav Chana, Rav Yochanan, v'hu shemetzaros aso. This hangnail is hurting you. If it's just there, and then you can do it even lechatchila. Must be facing upwards. The Shulchan Aruch codifies this leniency. See, porn shapirsha, a fingernail that is hanging. In pirshu ruvan, if the majority is hanging, umitzaros also, and it hurts him, lasir biyad mutter, you can remove it with your hand. Bikli poter av alasser, but you're not allowed to do it rabbinically with a kli. Lo pirshu ruban, if the nail is not hanging off more than 50%, biyad poter av biyad with your hand is poter av alasser, bikli chayv chatas. Rav Tzvi Pesach Frank addresses other applications of gozes on Shabbos with respect to hair. He writes that using hair removal cream is biblically prohibited, as this is an accepted method of removing hair. Dimad medami le'lahid rabbanon Rab Eliezer. Disvirlu danoitel sar biyad leka rakisr shvus. That Rab Eliezer seemed to say that removing hair with your hand is only exemid rabbanon. So lo karav zelzeh. He does not. He says it's not comparable. The notel sar biyad poter mishum davim locha kalachiyat. Removing hair with your hand, you're clearly doing something with the shinui, and that's why it's not deraisa; it's only rabbinic, and it's also not the normal way. Mishum delav orcha litlosh seir biyad. Masha enkin lavira seir besam, but using nair, like a cream that removes hair. Hare orchei, people use this. This is the normal way of doing it. This would be a chiyuv deraisa. It's not considered a p'tur of kalach yad. I don't know why they have a picture of the trimming nails with a nail clipper. No one has said that you're allowed to use a nail clipper. Elsewhere, Rav Tzvi Pesach writes that although gozes applies even when cutting hair from a dead animal, plucking feathers from a cooked chicken is permitted. Alvar shela b'tzavar shel of mevushal. You have a chelzel of a chicken, right? The neck, cooked chelzel. Shenishar lav notzos. There's some feathers on it. Ishar lasir zanotzos. Can you move those feathers? L'chur mekivan shekvar mevushal. It's cooked. Ein bo gozes. Shnei tamim. Shemevushal ein gozes atam. Mishum shemishbashal shem basar lav. It's not an animal. It's meat, and it can only we already derived the prohibition from an animal. In the name of that achron. The feathers are going to become detached after cooking. He says it's similar to a fingernail that 51% is hanging off, which we said you can remove. So is cutting nails on Shabbos biblically prohibited? Yes, even if one cuts them by hand, according to Rabbi Yezer. No, according to Chachamim. Cutting with an implement is a biblical malacha, according to all, according to Rivash. And biblically prohibited, like the Rambam Negra. Cutting with an implement is a malacha, she'ein tzrich l'gufa, and therefore it's not a chiyuv d'oraisa, according to Tosfos and Negra. And it's a malacha, she'ein tzrich l'gufa, and is permitted by the majority of poskim. What about combing and brushing your hair? And then we're going to come to makeup. What was that? So far, we have seen that cutting nails and cutting hair are forbidden on Shabbos, either midrabanan or midoraisa. What is the halacha with respect to combing hair on Shabbos? The Gemara does not directly discuss combing hair, but one could argue that combing might be permitted if it's not certain that hair will be removed due to the rule of dorshe miskavein, which is an action not intended, which is permitted. However, we find that a nazir, who is not allowed to cut his hair anytime, may not comb his hair either, according to the Mishnah in Masechta Nazir. The Gemara concludes that this is true even according to Rabbi Shimon, who permits actions that may cause unintentional violations. This is because one who combs his hair also intends to remove stray hairs. Nazir chofeif umefaspes. He can shampoo his hair, he can separate his hair, avalos soreg, but he can't comb it. Chofeif umefaspes mani. Shampooing and separating, why is it permitted? Because the author of that mission is Rabbi Shimon. Domer Dover Shem is Kav Mutri. He's not having kavana, intent to pull the hair out. If it happens to come out, he wants to shampoo his hair. Avalos soreg. You can't comb. Asan l'Rabbanan, who hold that Dover Shem Miskavin is usr. The Gemara doesn't understand. Reish Rab Shimon, the Sefer Rabban, Amar Rabba, Kula Rab Shimoni. It's really all Rab Shimon. Kol hasoyrek lahaser nimin miduldola miskave. When he combed his hair, he had sort of hairs that are sort of still connected but just dangling, and he wants to get rid of it. So really, he had kavana to remove a hair. Elsewhere, Rashi writes regarding this mission that the rule for a nazir on a weekday is equivalent to the rule for everyone on Shabbos. Nazir b'chol k'chol adam b'Shabbos, and therefore the Shulchan Aruch rules that combing one's hair is prohibited for different reasons, namely that strands of hair will certainly be uprooted, so it's a psik reisha, unintended, and you're happy with it. It's nichale, right? So because a psik reisha shalom nichale, so then there's leniencies, but psik reisha, and you're happy about it, we're usually machmir. The Ramah adds the allowances mentioned by the Mishnah. Also, lisrok b'masrek b'Shabbos. You can't comb your hair on Shabbos. This is the machaber. But feel also she'osi meser chazir, even from a comb made from pig hair. She'iev shor shelo yakru saros. And I guess one made from pig hair could be softer, and you'd think it wouldn't pull out hair, but apparently every type of comb would automatically pull out
It's
hair.
coarser. It's a very coarse brush. Boar hair, very coarse.
So the Ramah says, "Aval muter l'chov," you can sort of scratch your head, ulufas space beyond, and shampoo. The Mishnah explains the logic of the Shulchan Aruch of psik reisha, and then cites the Gemara mentioned above, source 15, that the source about Nazir, that one generally has in mind to remove stray hairs, even in cases of using a soft brush, where there's no psik reisha. I have to be honest with you. I've never had an intent in my life when I either brush my hair or comb my hair that I should remove any hair. I'm not thinking that any hair is going to come out, that there's stray hairs I'm removing. Do people think about that?
No, people don't want to lose hair.
Right. So
No, but we're talking about brushing your hair.
the Mishnah then criticized those who are lax regarding this prohibition. He does, however, permit fixing hair lightly using a soft brush. Even if you don't have intent to remove hair, because we have this thing, avi psik reisha, it's something that's going to happen automatically. The Gemara said that they assume that people's intent when they comb their hair is to remove sort of hanging hair. The heck is that? No. He wants to separate his hair. Even with a soft brush, a bersht. A bersht is a brush, right? In Yiddish. Shenu psik reisha. Gam kein oser im lo ba'ofen shemachavin laser. Even unless he doesn't have any intent to remove any hairs. Kosav is safe for Yeshua's Yaakov, right? Isi anashim mekilim lisroch rosham b'Shabbos. I saw people who are lenient; they brush their hair on Shabbos. Kimat nasa davar keheter etzlam. People have made it as a permit. V'oile einaim shekach rois. Woe is to the eyes that see this. Lavor b'seit nefesh l'chal Shabbos b'yadayim, that they're violating Shabbos. U'me'aroi l'kol chacham be'iro. It is appropriate for every Talmid Chacham in the city, lazir al zeh, to warn against this. Ulai yishmu v'yichu musar, adka. That's what the Yeshua's Yaakov said. Umasha Meshivin Shemuchrach Latakin Sarosa. And the response, oh, you got to fix your hair. He's going to look ugly. You can do it with a soft brush without intent. You can do it with your hand. You can brush lightly with a pig brush. To davka lisrok aser bo de meser seir. Combing you can't, because that pulls hair out. But lightly brushing, you can. Aval takimat sorry, v'masrek aser, can't use a comb. Af bezeh, v'nagu shia kli asui mi seir chazer miyuchad l'Shabbos. You should use this soft, bristled brush, specifically on Shabbos. Kedei shli mechzik ka'ovdin dechol. And it's not like you it's something that you do every day of the week. The source for the leniency to use a soft brush lightly is part of the tshuva of the Rivash. Ume'elam lo ra'iti v'lo shamati mi sheyeh chochech la'atir asrika v'lo mi sheyifrotz ba b'maisa gam bachur gam tula yonek im ish seva. He never heard anybody permitting combing, whether it's a young man or an unmarried woman. He says it's even a muktzah problem. Since it's usher to use on Shabbos, by touching it, it's muktzah. However, he says, Raksha bachurot, the unmarried women, mitaknot ma'at se'ar roshan, they fix their hair a little bit, b'kli asui mesarat ha'chazir, use this pig brush. But mishum hasarat se'ar, it's not a psik ratio, because everyone knows that no one has intent of pulling out hair. Combing to remove lice is prohibited. It cannot be done lightly or with a soft comb. Right? Cotton sheish b'sartav kinim. Near edain l'sorka b'masrek samech. You can't use a comb to get rid of it. The Shmir Shabbos Kilchasa gives us a summary and writes that certain brushes and combs will not pull out hair. And as such, brushing and combing is permitted. Mutter odem l'chakek benachas. You can rub your beard, b'sarut roshon, your hair. You don't have to worry that that's with your hand. You can remove pieces of food from your hair, from your beard. But he has to be yakpid lo litl saros. He has to be careful to have kavanah not to pull out any hair. Also, lisrokas saros. You can't generally comb your hair. Hein b'masrek, hein b'mavreshet, smicha, or a hard brush or a comb, or mavreshet kasha, right? A tough brush. Masrek, mavreshet, hein asrim betiltu. You can't even touch them. They're muktzah. Aval mutter lisrok va'af lavrit as a seir b'mavreshet shesar seir rakos. If the bristles are soft, you can comb and brush your hair. If between the teeth of the comb is a great space, you don't have to be worried that you're going to pull hair out. It shouldn't look like you're doing a weekday activity. You should separate a specific implement for Shabbos. I'm going to save the Rav Moshe till next week, and then we'll do braiding, parting, makeup, creams, brushing teeth. I'm not sure. There's a lot of stuff, so we'll see. Any questions, comments, Ha'arot? Okay, good. Have a good Shabbos, everybody.
Ernie,
Yes, sir.
it seems strange that the hair always came out at that time. I don't know what they were washing the hair with or whatever it was, but it's just strange.
Maybe their combs.
Men don't lose hair, do they?
Maybe their combs were very narrow. The space between them. Maybe our combs are manufactured differently. Maybe their brushes were much harder. And when you brushed your hair, they pulled hair out. It was a mitzias. Maybe our mitzias is different. People lose hair, and men and women, both men and women have loose hair. So we learned you can't have kavanah to have that. And you have to use an implement that is not going to do it automatically.
Okay.